You're watching McKinney Vision, online, on air.
Hello, I'm Carl Schuckman, along with Mayor Brian Loughmiller, and this is McKinney's Mayor's Minute, first one of the year. And we kind of kicked the whole year off with McKinney Connects, and that was a chance for the citizens to come out and get to know the City Council a little bit better, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and I think that the goal that the council has is to get out, and we're going to try to do this once a quarter in a different part of the city. The city now is 150,000 people, and you go into neighborhoods in far north McKinney, north of 380, and you see all these houses that a year ago, they were not there, and so we have to figure out a way to better connect with our community with just the 7 of us. So we're going to try to do it that way.
And plus, we're opening up 2/3 of the city for development too. That's going to be a big challenge for you guys.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we are continuing to grow, and we continue to receive a lot of attention nationally, and that's bringing people here, and that has its own challenges. So,
one of the neatest things that happened towards the end of the year were the presentations made in front of council for the Gateway development. Talk a little bit about the process that has to happen now, because there was a lot of neat stuff that was out there, and it's not necessarily going to happen that way. So tell us a little bit about how the process works.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, because you see a lot of pretty pictures and you think, oh, this is going to happen overnight, and it really doesn't. And the funny thing about Gateway too is when you ask somebody what Gateway even means, some people think it's exclusively the hotel conference center, some think it's Emerson, and it's really that entire 90-acre parcel. And we have 60 acres in the middle that are undeveloped, and so the presentations we had were from developers, Lincoln Properties, and Crossland Construction, and various groups as to how they see that property could develop. So it's really the starting process, the beginning of this is we have to pick a developer that we think fits for that property. And then it's a matter of reaching an agreement with them as to how they will develop it, whether we sell them the property, how do we partner with them, and then it's a long-term process. I mean, when you look at the areas around McKinney, Adriatica, for example, that's been developing for over 10 years. That's a good example. And that's a 40-acre plus or minus tract. So we're now talking 60, 70 acres with potential office buildings, restaurants, some multi-living type of development. So it's going to take a long time.
Do you kind of look at it like this great big diamond, and you bring in these developers and they're diamond cutters, and so it's kind of their vision of do you want little bitty diamonds? Do you want one great big diamond? Do you kind of look at it that way?
Yeah, you have to look at it that way, and you have to realize that when a developer comes in and they start talking about a process, they may not be the person that's there at the end of the process. They may be the beginning piece. And we have to be careful about what we do, because really what we're talking about is a master plan development that may take 5, 10, 15 years to happen. And for instance, one of the groups, Lincoln Properties, they're very well known in the community for office development. The other group's very well known for mixed use and lifestyle type development. So it may be a combination of both of them at some point working on this project in order to make it happen. And we just want to make sure, we call it Gateway because this is our entry point of the city, and it's going to be the first impression that anybody gets of McKinney when they're driving up 75. So it's very important that it looks the way we want it to look.
Things we know for sure are on the other side of town with the great big sports complex. Talk a little bit about that and how neat that's going to be.
It's really, really exciting, because it's something that we did not anticipate even a year and a half ago with PSA, and they're trying to branch out into other communities and bring their method of sports and things for the kids to other communities. And it's amazing how fast they're building. They're going to be finished. They broke ground just a couple of months ago. They're going to be finished before the end of the year, and it's 90,000 square feet, basketball, indoor soccer, volleyball. It's just something that we really need to have here in our city.
That's going to be one thing for kids in McKinney to be able to stay in McKinney for team events.
Absolutely, and one of the things that the board members pointed out is we already have 6,000 kids in McKinney that are going to PSA in Plano and other cities because we don't have that facility here. So now they'll be able to stay home.
And we also have swimming facilities that are going to be out there as well.
Yeah, and that's really nice too, because when we started talking about the aquatic center, I think 5-6 years ago, we had always envisioned it being at Gabe Nesbitt Park, and now we have a product in PSA that will be right next door. And so it really, if you think about it, it just makes that whole complex that much better, because it will look like they're connected, even though they're not.
One of the other things I think that's important for folks to understand is we've got that happening on the west side. We still have the corporate center that's happening out at Craig Ranch, besides Gateway. Those things are all, you guys are looking at it for them to fit together rather than just fight with each other.
Yeah, we really are. We don't want to, you know, you always have to be careful about how you develop and you know, cannibalization, and you know, by getting an office building in one location doesn't necessarily mean you won't get one in another location, and we really want it all to work together. We have an investment in the Craig Ranch Corporate Center. We already have one office building that's being built out there. We anticipate a second building will be going up fairly soon. And so we think that there's a lot of opportunities throughout McKinney just by virtue of 121 and 75 and the way that construction is happening. And then of course, you know, we have the airport, and we are focused on East McKinney as well with infrastructure improvements. We just passed a resolution to approve $7 million in additional improvements in streets over in East McKinney, and that's something we've been doing since 1999 with over $65 million of investment. So we're looking at the whole city.
That's it for this quarter. Let's get together again for the next quarter.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, that's
All right.
it for this edition of McKinney's Mayor's Minute.